here we doing the thing. So today we'll be reading. And like I said yesterday, my friends put their tree up in October. It's February and they still have it up. So don't judge. But we'll be reading 25 through 29. Yeah. Alright. So the death of Samuel. This is the person that God goes to. This is his, Now Samuel died, and all Israel assembled and mourned for him. And they buried him in the house of Ramah. David and Abigail. Then David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. And there was a man in Maon, whose business is in Carmel, or Carmel. The man was very rich. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats. He was shearing his sheep in Carmel. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. The woman was discerning and beautiful. But the man was harsh and badly behaved. Where did I see that? And he was a Calebite. David heard in the wilderness that Nabal was shearing the sheep. So David sent his 10 young men. And David said to the young man, "Go up to Carmel and go to Nabal and greet him in my name. And thus you shall greet him. And thus be to you, and thus be to your house, and thus be to all that you have. I hear that you have shearers. Now your shepherds have been with us, and we did them no harm, and they missed nothing all the time we were in Carmel. Ask your young man, and they will tell you. Therefore, let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we come in a feast day. Please give whatever you have and hand to your servants, and to your son David." When David's young men came, they said all this to Nabal in the name of David, and then they waited. And Nabal answered David's servants, "Who is David? Who is his son? Who is this son of Jesse? There are many servants these days who are breaking away from their masters. Should I take my bread and my water and my meat that I have killed for my shearers and give it to the man who comes from I don't know where?" So David's young man turned away and came back and told him all this. And David said to his men, "Every man strap on his sword, every man of them strapped on his sword." David also strapped on his sword, and about 400 men went up after David, while 200 remained with the baggage. One of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, "Behold, David sent his messengers out of the wilderness to greet our master, and he railed at them. Yet the men were very good to us, and we suffered no harm. We did not miss anything when we were in the fields as long as we went with them. They were a wall to us, both by night and by day, all the while we were with them keeping the sheep. Now therefore know this, and consider that you should do no harm to us. You should do harm is determined against our master and against all his house. He is such a worthless man that no one can speak to him." Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 skins of wine, and 5 sheep already prepared, and 5 seahs, which means 7 quarts and 7 liters of parched grain, and 100 clusters of raisins, and 200. The washer is not yet anymore. I always talk like somebody isn't watching this. It's just me. Me and the Lord. Of parched grain and 100 clusters of raisins, 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on the donkeys. And she said to her young men, "Go on before me, behold, I come after you." And she did not tell her husband Nabal. So Did she feed them? What's that? She went to her husband, and as she rode the donkey and came down under cover of the mountain, behold, David and his men came down toward her. She met him. Now David had said, surely in vain have I guarded all that this fellow has rewarded me, so that nothing was mixed of all that belonged to him. And as he returned in evil for good, God did so to the enemy of David. More also, if by mourning I leave so much as one male of all who belonged to him. When Abigail saw David, she hurried and got down from the donkey and fell before David on her face and fell to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, on me alone, my Lord, be the guilt. Please let your servant speak in your eyes and hear the words of your servant. Let not my Lord regard this worthless fellow. Nabal, for all his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I certainly not see the young man of my Lord, who sent you. Now then, my Lord, as the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, behold this. As the Lord lives and as your soul lives, because the Lord has restrained you from blood guilt and from saying with your own hand. Now then, let your enemies and those who seek to do evil to my Lord is Nabal. And now, let this present that your servant has brought to you, my Lord, be given to the young men who follow my Lord. Please forgive the trespasses of your servant, for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house, because my Lord is fighting the battle for the Lord. And evil shall not be found in you so as long as you live. If men rise up to pursue you and seek your life, the life of the Lord shall be bound in the bundle of the living in the care of the Lord your God. And the lives of your enemies he shall sling out as from the hollow of a sling. And when the Lord has done to my Lord according to all the good that he has spoken concerning you, and has appointed you prince over Israel, my Lord shall have no cause of grief or pain of conscience of having shed blood without case, or for my Lord working salvation himself. When the Lord has dealt well with my Lord, and remember his servant. And David said to Abigail, blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who sent you this day to meet me. Blessed be your discretion, and blessed be you who have kept me this day from blood guilt and from working salvation with my own hand. For as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, who has restrained me from hurting you, unless you have hurried and come to meet me. Truly by morning there had not been left in the bow so much as one male. Did they receive from your hand what she had brought him? And he said to her, go up in peace to your house. See, I have obeyed your voice, and I have granted your petition. And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he was holding a feast in his house at the feast of the king. And Nabal's heart was merry with him, for he was very drunk. So she told him nothing at all until morning light. In the morning, when the wine had gone out, Nabal, his wife told him these things, and his heart died within him. Dang. And he became as a stone. And about 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal and he died. Jesus. Wait. Okay. When David heard Nabal was dead, he said, blessed be the Lord, who has avenged these souls I received at the hand of Nabal, and has kept back his servant from wrongdoing. The Lord has returned the evil of Nabal on his own head. Then David sent and spoke to Abigail to take her as his wife. Wow. When the servants of David came to Abigail in Carmel, they said to her, David has sent us to you to take you to him as his wife. And she rose and bowed her face to the ground and said, Behold, your handmaid is a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my Lord. And Abigail hurried and rose and mounted a donkey, and her 5 young women attended her. She followed the messengers of David and became his wife. David also took Ahinoam of Jezreel, and both of them became his wives. Wow. Wife number 1. Oh no, he had. Didn't he marry Saul's daughter? He sure did. Okay. Yeah. What's her name? Let's see her name. Michal. So Michal, wife number 1. Ahinoam, wife number 3. Saul had given Michal, his daughter, David's wife, to Palti, the son of so the first one given to Palti, the son of Lash, who was in Galim. David spared Saul again. Saul still trying it. Then there's a fight, under chapter 26. Then there's a fights came to Saul at Gibeah, saying, Is not David hiding himself on the hill of Hachilah, which is on the east side of Jeshimon? So Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Zeph with 3,000. I gotta go put my clothes in the dryer. I'm gonna still read though, because I'm just so you know how this plays out. So Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Zeph with 3,000 chosen men of Israel to seek David in the wilderness of Zeph. And Saul encamped on the hill of Hachilah, which is beside the road on east of Jeshimon. I'm tired. Oops. Alright, now I'm going to slam that. Alright. So David about to try it again. He must want to die. David sent out his spies. Okay, David remained in the wilderness. When he saw Saul come after him in the wilderness, David sent out his spies and learned that Saul had indeed come. Then David rose and came to the place where Saul had encamped, and David saw the place where Saul lay. Then Abner, the son of Ner, the commander of his army, saw Saul and his army. Oh, he saw. Okay. Saul was lying within the encampment while the army was encamped around him. Then David said to Ahimelech, the Hittite, and to Joab's brother Abishai, the son of Zeruiah. Hey Siri, what time is it? What time is it?
It's 2:15 p.m.
I have to leave in a couple of minutes. Who will go down with me to the camp? Also, Dave says okay. Who will go down with me to? That was that. I can't listen to that. Who will go down with me to the camp to Saul? And Abishai said, I will go down with you. So David and Abishai went to the army by night, and there lay Saul sleeping within the encampment. Look, he's asleep. Jesus. With his spear stuck in the ground at his head, and Abner and the army lay around him. Then Abishai said to David, God has given your enemy into your hand this day. Now please let me pin him to the earth with one stroke of the spear, and I will not strike him twice. But David said to Abishai, this man was laying down asleep. Child. But David said, do not destroy him, for who can put out his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? And David said, as the Lord lives and the Lord strike him, or his day will come to die. Or he will go down to the battle and perish. And the Lord forbid that I should put out my hand against against the anointed. But take now the spear that is on his head and a jar of water and let us go. He took his spear and water. So David took the spear and the jar of water from Saul's head, and they went away. No man saw it or knew it, nor did any awake, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from the Lord has fallen upon them. Then David went over to another side and stood far off on the top of the hill with a great space between them. And David called to the army and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, will you not answer Ner? Then Abner answered, who are you who calls the king? And David said to Abner, are you not a man who is like you in Israel? Why then have you not kept watch over your lord, the king? For one of the people came in to destroy the king, your lord. This thing that you have done is not good, as the Lord lives. You deserve to die because you have not wept and you have not kept watch over your Lord, the Lord's anointed. And now see, excuse me. And now see where the king's spear, and now see where the king's spear is in the jar of water that was in his head. Or that was at his head. Saul recognized David's voice and said, is this your voice, my son David? And David said, it is my voice, my lord, O king. He said, why did my lord pursue after his servant? What have I done? You know what to do. What evil is in my hands? Now therefore let my lord the king. Wait. Oh, that's David still talking. Okay, that's what he said. For what have I done? What evil is on my hands? Now therefore let my lord the king hear the word of his servant. If it is the Lord who has stirred you up against me, may he accept an offering. But if it is men, may he be cursed before the Lord, for they have driven me out this day that I should not wait. I should have no spare, excuse me, I have no share in the heritage of the Lord, saying, go serve other gods. Now therefore, let not my blood fall to the earth away from the presence of the Lord, for the king of Israel has come out to seek a single flea, like one who hunts a partridge in the mountains. Then Saul said, I have sinned. Return my son David, for I will no more do you harm, because my life is precious in your eyes. Here's Saul go with this BS again. Excuse my language, Lord. I never studied this properly. But this foolishness. Look. He says, behold, I have acted foolishly and have made a great mistake. And David answered and said, here's the spear, O king. Let one of the young men come over and take it. The Lord rewards every man for his righteousness and his faithfulness. For the Lord gave him into my hand today. I would not put out my hand against the Lord's anointed. Behold, as your life was precious this day in my sight, so may your life be precious in the sight of the Lord. And may he deliver me out of all tribulation. Then Saul said to David, blessed be you, my son David. You will do many things and will succeed in them. So David went this way and Saul returned to his place. It's like, you said this last time. What makes it different? Like, why did you pursue him again? So, chapter 27, David flees to the Philistines. Okay. Then David said in his heart, now I shall perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than I should escape to the land of the Philistines. Then Saul would disappear. Then Saul would despair of seeking me any longer within the borders of Israel. So David is smart because he knows, like, this man gonna keep on trying to kill me. I shall escape out of his hand. So David arose and went over, he and the 600 men who were with him, to Achish, I think it's Achish, the son of David and Moab, king of Gath. And David lived with Achish at Gath, he and his men. So David knew better than to trust Saul's word. Because Saul wasn't a man of his word. He wasn't. And David lived in Achish with Achish at Gath. He and his men, every man with his household, and David with his two wives, Ahinoam and Jezreel, and Abigail of Carmel, Nabal's widow. Oh, okay. Those are two wives. And when it was told to Saul that David had fled to God, he no longer saw them. Then David said to Achish, if I have found favor in your eyes, let a place be given to me in one of the country towns that I may dwell there. For why should your servant dwell in the royal place with you? So that day Achish gave him Ziklag. Therefore Ziklag has belonged to the kings of Judah to this day. And the number of the days that David lived in the country of Philistines was a year and 4 months. Now David and his men went up and made raids against the Gershites and the Geshurites, the Geberites, and the Amalekites, for these were the inhabitants of the land from of old, and as far as Shur to the land of Egypt. And David would strike the land and would leave neither man nor woman alive, but would take away the sheep, the oxen, the donkeys, the camels, the garments, and come back to Achish. When Achish asked, where have you made a raid today? David would say, against the Najib of Judah, and against the Najib of the Jerahmeelites, or against the Najib of the Kenites. And David would leave neither woman or man alive to bring news to Gath, thinking lest they should tell about us and say, so David is done. Such was his custom all the while he lived in the country of the Philistines. And Achish trusted David, thinking he has made himself an utter stench to his people of Israel. Therefore he shall always be my servant. Okay. Chapter 28. Saw in the medium of Endor. In those days of the Philistines gathered their forces of war to fight against Israel. And Achish said to David, understand that you and your men are to go out with me in the army. David and Achish very well. You should know that your servant can do. And you should know what your servant can do. And Achish said to David, very well, I will make you my bodyguard for life. Now Samuel had died, and all Israel had mourned for him and buried him in Ramah in his own city. And Saul had put the mediums and the necromancers out of the land. The Philistines assembled and came and encamped at Shunem. And Saul gathered out Israel, and they encamped at Gilboa. When Saul saw the army of the Philistines, he was afraid. He could have had the strongest man there. And his heart trembled greatly. And when Saul inquired of the Lord did not answer him. And the Lord did not answer him, neither by dreams or by Urim or by the prophets. Then Saul said to his servants, seek out for me a woman who is a medium. See? Desperation. That I may go to her and inquire of her. And that's what we do today, Pharaoh. That's what we use zodiac signs and all that for. And his servants said to him, behold, there is a medium at Endor. So Saul disguised himself and put on other garments and went, he and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, divine for me by a spirit. We still don't know who this spirit is. Still to this day. I mean, we know it's the enemy, but we don't know. We could say, oh, it's Satan. But you feel what I'm saying? I mean, it could just be that. But they always use it as like a mysterious, it's always something mysterious, a spirit. And bring up for me whomever I shall name to you. The woman said to him, surely you know what Saul has done, how he has cut off the mediums and the necromancers from the land. Why then did you lay in trap for my life to bring about my death? But Saul swore to her by the Lord. I wonder if he's going to keep it. You know you're not a man of his word. As the Lord lives, no punishment shall come upon you for this thing. Then the woman said, whom shall I bring for you? He said, bring up Samuel. Now he's talking to the dead. When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out with a loud voice. And the woman said to Saul, why have you deceived me? You are Saul. The king said to her, do not be afraid. What do you see? And the woman said to Saul, I see God coming up out of the earth. He said to her, what is his appearance? And she said, an old man is coming up, and he is wrapped in a robe. I wonder who that is. And Saul knew that it was Samuel. And he bowed with his face to the ground and paid homage. Then Samuel said to Saul, why have you disturbed me by bringing me up? Saul said, I am